Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kickback Presents the All Memphis Post Game Show, where we break down, recap, analyze every Memphis Grizzlies and or Memphis Tigers game right after they happen. You don't have to wait for our takes with me, per usual. And as always, we got the homie Mase. Mase, what's going on, dog? How you feeling?
Back up over 500, baby. Anytime we over 500, I'm feeling good. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Middle of the week is hump day. How you feeling?
It felt like a Wednesday. It felt like a Wednesday today. Work was work. And then got to come home and watch a Grizzlies game. A game that we knew they should have won, and they actually did win, but it didn't look like that. Didn't look that way for the first half. But they pulled it out.
I'm not sure they could have came out flatter, and they came out so flat. Both of us actually missed the first quarter. You were a bit out of pocket, and I thought the game was at 6 because I had the Jazz game time stuck in my head for the weekends, trying to plan ahead. And so I missed basically the whole first half. And right when I tuned in, like Moses Brown basically already had a double-double.
Yep.
And Ja went up for this lazy little like floater right in the middle of the lane. It wasn't a floater, it was more like a runner. And Moses spiked it, but Grayson was there to pick it up and nail a three. And that put us ahead 40-39, like with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. And then it pretty much all fell apart and the Thunder took the lead. And I mean, it just seemed like from what I saw in the first half, we played with no force, no effort. Basically one of those games we thought we were just going to win by stepping out on the court, much like the last time we played OKC and it came back to bite us. So, I don't think we missed much there in the first half.
Well, you talking about the Jazz? I thought this was a home game. You said you had the Jazz game stuck in your mind. I thought it was a home game because when I was at the arena on Monday, they had like a preview for saying Jazz game on whatever, and I thought they were saying, "Oh, the Jazz game is at home." I thought we were playing the Jazz at home, and so I'm talking about boss at work, and she's like, "You gonna watch the game tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Are you going?" And she said, "No, it's in Oklahoma City." I'm like, "No, it's not." And so I had to look it up. I'm like, "Oh, it is." Actually, because I was gonna call Mike Wallace. I was like, Mike might be on the road. I'm not gonna call him when he's on the road. I can talk to him when he gets back. And but no, he's here because Elliott's on the road. And so but it is.
Ain't none of them on the road, brother. It's COVID. They in booth 216 or suite 216 doing the game.
I swear to God, it was one game. It was one game last week. I don't know who they were playing on the road last week. Hasseltine and Mike Wallace they were in the other arena. Because who was it? Was it a blowout? I don't know, but they were there, and maybe just Hasseltine and them are traveling. I don't know if the TV crews are traveling.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. I tried to listen to it on the radio today, but I couldn't really tell when I was in the car. When I was in the car, it was during halftime. I don't know if we both high or not, Campbell, but it's late, so that's probably what it is. But yeah, it was a very slow start, and Ja didn't score in the first quarter, which was interesting. We talked about his slow first quarters. I feel like we haven't talked about him in a minute because he's been playing so well in the first quarter. But he started off slow. The team started off slow. In the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, the Thunder kind of pulled away, but the Grizzlies kept it close, which helped out in the third. Grayson Allen ended the half with a great play.
Yeah. He paid Poku back for busting our ass a couple weeks ago or last week or whenever that was. But he got him good with the left.
The lefty.
And it's good to see, Grayson, he had that hip injury last year in the bubble, and we didn't know, like at that point, he's basically on the verge. I might be out of the league if I can't recover from this hip. And now he's, starting and at the very least a rotation player. And him and Dylan were basically the lone bright spot in the first half, but Dylan had 9 points and 7 of them came from the free throw line. So I'm not sure how bright that is, in a half when you don't really have any scoring, your team's shooting 34%, you turn it over 8 times. only 24 points in the paint in the first half, and the Thunder had 7 blocks in the first half alone. You like that Dillon took the initiative to at least get to the line. We know he's not scared to, take the ball in his own hands and do his thing. So it kept us in the game. We shot 12 free throws in the first half to their 5. But it was all around just an ugly first half. And like I said, Moses Brown had 10 and 10 and 2 blocks. Al Horford was looking like he was back on the Hawks or something. He had 11 points and 6. I guess it was a trade showcase basically for Al Horford. Like, yo, send me somewhere to the playoff team.
They can't. Al Horford is not in the future of the Thunder, so they got to be. They already got 35 picks, so just give somebody a pick to take Al Horford too. Like you don't need both of them.
I think Pete said they have 18 first-round picks and like 15 or 13 second-round picks over the next 7 years.
Yeah,
it sounds great, but you got to make moves with those pieces. So, and to their credit, like last year they had a team that made the playoffs, and I think they went to 7 games with Houston. And then this year, they'll sneak up on you. They're not going to make the playoffs, and it looks like they're putting the tank on, especially if SGA is hurt. Like he didn't play tonight, and he's got plantar fasciitis in his foot. So, but to their credit, they've got talented guys, and they play hard.
Didn't the Celtics have a bunch of picks at one point, and everybody was like, "Watch out for the Celtics; they're going to do it." And then it's like, "Oh well, now they're 8th in the East." Yeah, their window closed.
They didn't trade them for Paul George. They wouldn't trade them for Anthony Davis. So the thing is, you got to pull the trigger on the trade and then hope the guy that you trade for extends. So a lot of things have to work out. Like it's great that they have all those assets, but it doesn't mean anything for their future.
Right. Back to the game. Started the third quarter. The Grizzlies started the third quarter with 4 straight turnovers.
Yeah. It was oh no, not again.
And so you're looking at it like, oh man, this team is about to be, because for a while there, Oklahoma City was looking like the better team. And but they got it together halfway through the third quarter, and at one point we were on a 33-9 run, or 33-9 run through the third quarter. And that's when we got out. They were playing such great defense. Like you got Dort and you got what's the boy name? Melatonin.
Teo Maladon.
They were all playing great defense on the perimeter. And then when we started getting turnovers or turning them over and getting in the open court and start running and throwing Anthony Bain threw a lob to Brandon Clark that was crazy. When we started getting in the open court, the game turned and we took the lead and we didn't look back.
Yeah, and Dillon Brooks was kind of the catalyst for that. He was hitting shots. He ended up with 25 points and season high plus 25 while he was in the game. So shout out to Dillon. But yeah, like you said, we couldn't look more different from the first half to the, after the first 4 minutes of the third quarter. Just playing with effort, making them do what we wanted them to do instead of just basically running up and down the court. Grayson mentioned it in his post game, and then Brevin was kind of talking about it throughout the game. There in that third quarter, we started switching basically everything, which eliminated the just straight dribble penetration off the screen with Valanciunas in the drop and just easy buckets. The same way SGA basically beat us the other day. He got going from the mid-range, and then he was knocking down threes. So those switches just take that initial drive away. Like you're not just getting right into the lane after one screen. It's not that easy anymore. And to our credit, the rotations were great. Everyone was moving. We got super active. And then the Thunder, they just had no answer. They didn't have the firepower to compete with a legitimate NBA team when they started playing well. And I was worried early in the third quarter because you could tell we were treating it like we're one of those veteran teams or something that can just turn it off and on. And luckily we were able to turn it on. But yeah, second half was fun.
Yeah, the second half was fun. And, the eyes are always on our version of the big three, but not really a big three. Grayson, DeAnthony, and Desmond. And DeAnthony had 17 minutes tonight, 14 points. He was shooting that thing. He just came off ready to go. And then Desmond Bain ended up with 3 plays, 24 minutes. Didn't shoot the ball well, but like I said, he threw a good lob to Brandon Clark. Played some good defense. It's going to be interesting to, like we say it every show, but that's the game within the game. Those three, who plays well, who doesn't. On a night like tonight where you had 2 out of the 3 play well, you get a win with that. Like Grayson gives you 20, DeAnthony gives you 14. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and DeAnthony, I mean, in the fourth quarter, so Fast Break Breakfast tweeted this stat. Since the All-Star break in the fourth quarter, Melton is 9 of 11 from deep. Like Mr. Fourth Quarter, maybe, but he plays like 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. I feel like I'm not sure what he's got to do to get more minutes, and I mean, you can't really make the argument that he should have been in over Grayson, although maybe you can, and you can't really say to take Dylan out tonight. Probably another one of his best games of the season. So it's going to be fascinating to see if we make a move here in the next 12, 14 hours. So this log jam works itself out, or if we're content to ride it out based on, like we talk about every show, the rest of the schedule and how condensed it's going to be.
Yeah, I think the first when I got tuned into the game in the second quarter, I think DeAnthony only played like 3 or 4 minutes, and he wasn't on the court when he's usually on the court. And I was watching the game with my mom at her house, and she was like, "How come DeAnthony ain't playing?" Like, it was noticeable that that he wasn't on the court at the time when he's usually on the court. So I thought it was, and I'm looking on the bench trying to see him on the bench because I'm looking like, is this one of the games they're resting him? Because we got 2 Utah games coming up where you gotta maybe use him to guard, Donovan Mitchell, or you saving his legs, whatever. But then he ended up coming in and playing. He played more in the second half than he did the first half. Like, so yeah, he still only ended up with 17 minutes. But it looked like they kind of put a fire under him because he came into the game like gunning. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me show y'all. Not even let me show y'all what I got to do, but let me just do what I can do so I can get my numbers.
He has kind of transformed from like just a defensive guy to a heater type guy when he comes in off the bench. Like, he's getting his up. He played 17 minutes and got 9 shot attempts up. Right. 6 of them were from deep. And I mean, he shot it well. But yeah, I don't know why he's not playing tonight. You can point to the analytical numbers. He was a -10 in those 17 minutes, and that's worse than Bain and Grayson Allen. But I don't think it was his fault that they were -10. So Tony Allen today on Tuesdays with Tony, even though it's a Wednesday, basically was like, he's just got to keep working and biding his time. Like, he's going to get his opportunity to play big minutes, and just got to be ready to, make the most of it. And he's made the most of these limited minutes that he's getting. So the upside is there, and I don't envy the coaching staff having to decide how to do the rotation with these wing guys as is.
Yeah, and I mean, you say we got 12 to 14 hours left, 14, 16 hours left in this trade deadline. Campbell saying, go ahead and put Jaren in that thing. Go on, trade Jaren for somebody.
So there's really not a lot more to talk about this game. Like, we finished with 19 assists, 18 turnovers. The final score was 116-107. It is what it is. But do you have any guys who, or I'm sure you got a couple, outside of Ja, we'll just assume he's off the table, but are there any guys on the roster that are untouchable for you at this trade deadline?
Ooh, untouchable.
And we're going to say untouchable in the sense of we're not assuming that the trade is for an all-star type player. This is just like a role player. Norman Powell would be the highest level player in the scenario that you're trading him for.
I would say in the current state of the team, as of 10:53 Wednesday, March 24th, 10:53 p.m., I would say you can't get rid of Jonas right now. I think Jonas is pretty much untouchable with the state of this team. We don't have another big that can be just as effective as him in what we do. And I say that even when Jaren comes back and Jaren comes back healthy, we can talk. But I think so. Jonas, maybe Dylan, Dylan's
Say it
really
loud,
changed.
man.
Dylan's really changed my mind these last few weeks, actually. I'm still a huge Dylan Brooks critic, but I mean, when he's good, he's good. And he hasn't been bad that often. And he hasn't been bad as often as he was in the bubble and last year. So, which we've talked about ad nauseum, part of that is just the makeup of the team now. He has a defined role and he knows what to do in that role. Other than that, I don't know if there's many more untouchables.
So would you trade? Would you include Brandon Clark in a deal for like a Oubre or a Powell type player? Because I wouldn't. I don't think I would.
I don't think.
I think I would expand on your list. You have Ja, JV, Dylan, and I've got Dylan etched in. I know you're a little iffy, and then I would probably include Brandon Clark and Melton. I want to include Bane, but I could make a move.
Yeah, I think that last year's draft class is just too good. You know what I'm saying? Like Brandon Clark, we don't have another player like Brandon Clark unless you're going to tell me that we're going to keep Kyle Anderson is going to turn into something else. We need Brandon. We need Brandon as the backup big, as a backup, whatever you want to call him, backup utility player. I believe that maybe Kyle is on the chopping block. Kyle is expendable, do you think? Yes or no?
Yeah, it seems like it, just with the way the rotations have been going lately and kind of his body language to steal your thing. So Kyle, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyus was included in a deal.
I was thinking about Tyus. It was, I like having a dedicated backup point, a real backup
Me
point.
too. Me too. That's the sticking point for me. And like I said, I assume that you have to approach this trade deadline a bit differently than one's past, just because of the season. Like Ja's going to have to rest at some point.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Start Justice at point guard? Like, no, I don't think we're ready for that. Justice could be on the block.
Justice could be on the block. I mean,
I'm not sure his value, his work could be lower, but like it's not like it's
what do we want to get? Like you say, a Kelly Oubre, a Norman Powell type. Kelly Oubre's name has been attached to the Grizzlies for way too long.
Yeah, I only bring it up because of your brother. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. Like,
who do we almost trade him for? Marshawn Brooks.
Well, it depends on who you ask, because either Marshawn or Dylan.
Right. They just got what a crazy night. We were in the arena that night. Like, that was during the game.
Yeah.
That trade happened during the game. They pulled Marshawn off the bench. And Washington was like, no, we want the other Brooks. We don't want him.
Yeah, that was wild. So we've came a long way since the Brooks mishap. So
Marshawn Brooks used to be a featured player on this team. Good Lord.
But I mean, I don't know what we need. The thought is always a big wing that can handle and score, but it's the thing that's what makes it so difficult with not seeing these guys with Jaren, that we don't actually know what piece we need. Like, can Jaren play the 5 and Brandon be the backup 5? And like, then we need more of a 4 type. There's so many different scenarios that we could need just about everything. Like a bigger guy, a better shooter at backup point guard. There's all kinds of upgrades. Hey, I'm not Winslow. I think at this point, to me, he's been a bit underwhelming. His defense is great, but the 3-point bricks are starting to weigh on me. I still think he can, probably be a part of this team, but I don't think he is currently what the front office envisioned when they made that deal for him.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just don't know what you can get for him. Like,
nothing.
Who's going to give you something for him? Somebody who's played 13 games, 14 games, maybe. Not even that many, I'm assuming. Like, maybe, I'll say maybe 13 games. You ain't gonna get much from him. And people don't want to see his wardrobe on the sidelines.
And I mean, how would you feel if like Grayson or Bane were traded? Like that's like the hottest commodity in today's NBA is a big time shooter. But how would you feel if, like, The thing is, I don't know what we need, so I can't make up fake trades in my head.
Right. And it would also be about the return. Like if we give up, I won't say his name. If we give up Grayson Allen for Kelly Oubre, yeah, it's fine. I'll take that. But we know we get to keep Bane and the Anthony Melton. So you got a more explosive wing guy, maybe. But I don't know. I think I said it a few shows ago. I like the makeup of this team for the next 2 years. Ja's going to be your superstar. Jaren's going to be star level. Dylan's going to be your star, can be a star one night, going to be a GOAT a couple nights. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of what we got. And is it enough to win a championship? No. Is it enough to compete and continue to build? Yeah. Like, we're in a playoff race right now without Jaren. And I feel like when we get him back outside of the learning curve and playing with him, because at this point, they've played more games without him than they ever played with him, this group. So what's that going to be?
And like looking into the future after next season, Jaren is up for his extension. And it's kind of penciled in that he'll get a max extension, but if he doesn't play this season and he does play next season, it's going to be hard for me to give him a max extension.
Right.
But that's the going rate. That's how it goes in the NBA. So him not getting a max extension would be surprising to the league. But, at some sooner rather than later, we're going to have to pay him and Ja, and then we're not going to have this flexibility to go out and get the third piece. So can Dylan be the third piece on the championship team? Can Melton become that? Maybe to both of them, honestly, but they're not that right now. And would we be better if we got someone who is better suited for that? And then they are 4 and 5,
right. It's interesting. It's a great problem to have. We're in a much better position than the last few years. We're hoping and praying. I think they say, was it two trade deadlines ago was when we traded Mark to Toronto.
Yeah.
And then we lost Mike that following summer. So, this is the time we just stand pat and just chill out and see. See what's happening around us. See what if any of the teams around us make any moves that can. Houston, Oladipo is going somewhere. So hopefully he doesn't end up with a team that's fighting right with us. Sacramento might send Bagley somewhere. I'm trying to think who else is around us. Like the Warriors, they were kicking around the idea of Oubre for Lonzo maybe, or Oubre for somebody. I don't know.
The Pelicans got to make some moves.
Yeah. And then, like they talking about buying out JJ Redick, and he's going to sign with the Nets if they buy him out. And I'm like, bro, like how much? This is getting ridiculous. Not saying that JJ Redick's an all-star type player, but do y'all really need go somewhere else?
Yeah, like I mean, they might not do this, but if you had the big three, KD, Kyrie, Harden, and Joe Harris and JJ out there, and KD kind of manning the 5 on defense, and Harden can guard post players. It's not a lot of defense, but they're going to score every time down court.
They are going to score every time down the court, and it's going to be look. We talked about it. I don't know about all this stacking these teams. Like LeBron, the Heatles weren't a stacked team. It was LeBron, superstar level LeBron, star level Dwayne, and star level Chris Bosh. Almost washed up Ray Allen, and who else? Zydrunas Ilgauskas was the starting center. So you know what I'm saying, whatever. But now it's these stacked teams is crazy. You got 3 superstars on one team. The Clippers went and got a superstar level Kawhi Leonard, a superstar level Paul George. Still didn't win nothing. I don't know. I'm not with all of these stacked teams. You got 4 different stacked teams, and the rest of the NBA is just kind of grasping at straws.
Yeah, and then that makes the case of why maybe we need to be more active this trade deadline to beef up our future. So as seemingly uninteresting as this trade deadline appears to be for the Grizzlies, like it could have major implications moving forward, just like any trade could. You hit the right player, you hit the right pick or whatever. But anyways, enough speculation. We'll see if we get any Woj or Shams reports. Like there's been no action all day today.
Tomorrow's gonna be coming fast and furious because there's a bunch like Kyle Lowry's not gonna be with the Raptors tomorrow.
He pieced out the cameras on his way out.
Yeah, he's not gonna be with the Raptors tomorrow. Who else? Victor Oladipo probably won't be with the Rockets. Which in that trade, man, Pacers got to steal. And thank God he's healthy because Karis LeVert is a beast. And he's going to fit right in with that team and what that team does. And Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, Domantas Sabonis. What I say, DeBonis?
DeBonis? What happens when you get 7 fouls? DeBonis.
It was good. So yeah, I think that's how uninterested we were in this game. Like this is one of those games like the Tigers game, bro. Just win the game. We don't care how you win it. I'm not going to make an overarching season adjustment take on this game. Just make sure you win this game because you should have won the other one. And they did. They won the game. One more. They got what they needed. Now you start the road trip out good. It's a road trip. You got Oklahoma City tonight. 2 against the Jazz and 1 against the Rockets. So ideally, you'll go 3-1. You'll be happy with 2-2.
Yep. Let's go split one in Utah.
Yeah.
All right. So who you got for a player of the game tonight?
I'm gonna go, man. This ain't my second game in a row. The homie Dylan Brooks. Gotta go with the Canadian, man. Gotta go with the Canadian. It's like a United Nations out there. It was all types of players from all over the world on the court tonight. But no, I'm giving Dylan, man. He's been playing really well. Steps up when the team needs him. Like 13 shots is like good for him. 8 of 13?
Yeah.
Had a few Dylan plays, but you expect that. And like we say, so Dylan Brooks.
That's the dream game from Dylan Brooks. Like that's what people have clamored for 3-4 years now. Like just efficient. No, his motor got us going in the third half. Basically helped us win the game. But yeah, I got Dylan too. Who you got for a bum of the game?
Lou Dort.
Why are you picking on my man Lou Dort?
Because he went to Arizona State University, and that's why he's a bum of the game. His name is Dort. His last name is Dort, and he went to ASU, so that's why he's my bum of the game.
I guess I'll go with Poku since he let Grayson Allen poke it right on him with the left hand.
And then Grayson came back and did it with the right hand in the second half. Let me show y'all I got some hops.
Yeah, he was flying around tonight. I mean, dude, we had so many dunks in that like span from the third quarter to midway through the fourth quarter. Just Grayson, Justice had one, Brandon Clark, Ja had a steal and he's just wide open dunking.
Him and Dylan did the two. They both did 2-hand dunks. And they hung on the rim for a long time. And the referee didn't call a tech. So there you go.
And not a college tech like my boy got the other day. Mm-hmm. Who was it in the tournament who got that weak tech when he dunked full speed and they said he was hanging on the rim? Anyway.
I didn't watch that one.
But all right, we got player of the game, bum of the game. What about your play of the game?
I'm gonna go. We mentioned it twice. I'm gonna go with Grayson's left hand dunk to end the first half. It was needed because I think it cut the lead to 6. It was cut the lead to 6 before we went in the half, which was definitely needed. And Grayson had a good night. And sometimes he got to remind people he got some sneaky hops, and he reminded them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the play of the game. But I'll go Baines lob to Clark. That was also nice late in the game. So it's anytime Brevin like gets super hyped up, it makes the play that much better for Grizzly fans, because like Uncle Brevin, like when we have kids, like that'll be Uncle Brevin and Uncle Pete. Like,
how was it watching Grizzlies games? We were gathered around the TV, listen to Uncle Brevin and Uncle Pete tell us about Ja and Rob Fisher would wear colorful shoes.
Hey, well, will they tell us about Jamal making some money tonight? That's my imitation of a peak transition to a Rob Fisher sideline report. presented by AutoZone. Shout out, baby.
Shout out. See, that question is it's a loaded question. You know, I won some money on the other NBA bet.
I mean, is it loaded? I just asked you if you won some money. Yes or no?
I won some money, but not on the Grizzlies. How about that?
Well, what do you have on the Grizz?
I want to give the bum of the game to the FanDuel Sports app because they actually tried to mess up the accounting of this parlay. But anyway, they got it right. They didn't get it right. They still got one thing wrong, but it doesn't matter because whatever. So, you know how I usually start. These two things are always going to be on there. I had Kyle Anderson scoring 10 points and Kyle Anderson getting over 4 rebounds. Tonight, Kyle only had 6 points, but he had 5 rebounds. Had Jonas getting over 15 and over 10, which he did. Had Ja getting over 15 points, which he did not. 11 points for Ja. Had Dylan getting over 15 points, which he did. Had Grayson Allen scoring over 7.5, which he did. Had Lou Dort scoring over 12 points, which he did. And had Theo Maledon getting over 4 rebounds, which he did. So the two I missed were Kyle scoring 10 and Ja scoring 15, which, like I say, every time this happens, they do that every game.
And if the game's a little bit closer, Ja's in there at the end getting 4 to 6 free throws, and he's hitting that. And, you know, sometimes Kyle's closing, sometimes he's not. But I'm sure you were upset when you saw them check out.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, just don't win the game, but keep it close so they can come back in. You kind of can tell with Kyle by halftime if he's not halfway there. At least, you know, if he doesn't have 4 or 6 points in the first half, he probably ain't gonna get you 10 because according to how the game goes, he might not play that much in the second half. In terms of the matchups and stuff. So, that was that. Like I said, but I did win some money on another bet, so that was good. But yeah, I will keep betting these stats bets on our fair grizz. You know, one hit, and all you need is one to hit. One hit, and the floodgates about to open, baby.
Well, didn't hit yesterday, like last game?
Yeah, hit last game. So, you know
okay.
Can't hit them all, Mase.
Okay. Well, you said the floodgates about to open, so I'm just confused on. I guess I don't know what that means.
Maybe not the floodgates for the Grizzlies bets, but just in general. You know what I'm saying? I won some out the NBA. You know, we got college basketball coming up, which I'm really good at. So,
yeah. And speaking of college basketball, we got the Tigers tomorrow play their second round game of the NIT, which I believe is the Elite Eight, against Boise State, so a Mountain West foe. And we'll be back to talk about that game. Maybe we'll hit on some trades if they happen as well. But in the meantime, y'all can find me on Twitter at BarnBurnerSlim. Y'all can find the show in podcast form. Just search All Memphis Postgame wherever you get your podcast. And Jay, let them know where they can find you and the video versions of the show.
Man, they can find me on Twitter at Nerdy McFly. They can find the show on YouTube at Diamond in the Bluff Media. And they can find us on Facebook at They can find us on Facebook at Diamond in the Bluff Media and or the Kickback Pod. That's where they can find the show. Campbell, I'm trying to find that time for you. Let's see.
They play at 8 Central. The Tigers play at 8 Central tomorrow on ESPN.
Okay, there you go. 8 Central tomorrow. We'll be on a little bit after that. So yeah, that's where you can find the show on YouTube, Diamond in the Bluff, on Facebook, Diamond in the Bluff. You know, there you go. And no, sir, Campbell. Nah, I gotta go. I gotta get with you to pick up that bottle, man. Get that Henny Pure White.
You're gonna put them cuffs on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna just wait on that. But with that being said, if you haven't subscribed to the show yet, while we're playing around, just go ahead and click that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We appreciate y'all for listening. With that being said, for Mase, I am Jamal, and we are out.